video. It is available online at our website, projectcure.org, where you can find all kinds of information. In addition, we've left some information at the front about volunteering and about all the programs as well. You know, we're running a little bit over. I'm going to have Judy give you a quick overview of her program, which is called the Cure Kit program. Oh, 10 minutes, perfect. So we've got time for Judy and John. Okay. Oh, perfect.
Okay. Imagine this container multiplied by about 20 or 30 times. We get in giant boxes, pallet size, that have all this mixture of stuff. I call it onesies and twosies. One of this, two of that, one of that. Occasionally we get a candy wrapper that some nurse threw in there. Well, most of it's good stuff. This meets a couple of my passions. One is recycling. I hate to see stuff thrown out and fill up our landfill. And so a whole lot of stuff gets put to good use. It also treats the medical needs of these people. We take stuff like this, a big old box, and we sort it. We lay it out on tables, and you don't have to know what it is. You know, it's kind of like kindergarten. Which of these looks like the other? And so you put it in piles, and then you figure out, with using our little catalog, our directory, or you get to use a computer to figure out which bin it goes in. And then somebody else packs it up from that bin and it goes in our inventory. And if you like everything neat and nice and everything in its place, send money, don't come to Project Cure. Okay, it'll drive you crazy. It is controlled chaos. Janet is continually working to get us organized and get stuff in, but if it's too organized, we're not getting stuff in. So it's constantly stuff in, stuff out, and we can teach anybody to sort. And we have this one, my very favorite bin is the big yellow bin at the end of the table that says, I don't know. So when we don't know, when we've spent some time looking it up in the categories, and we don't know, we put it in there. And then we have other, particularly nurses that come in, some of our OR nurses that volunteer, they have special expertise. Everyone got excited when they found out I was a nurse. I was mostly psychiatric nurse, so we didn't use a lot of stuff. So that was not so helpful. Anyway, we packed the stuff up, and it goes in our inventory, and then when we're ready for a shipment, Janet and some of the other team members pull all the stuff that's on the list, and it goes out in the big trucks. It's amazing to watch them pack the trucks. I don't do that, but I have seen them. These are the kits for kids, and this is like a little medicine cabinet in a bag. And you can, for a $5 donation, isn't it $5? You can get one of these, and we have a list of what goes in it. And some of our groups that don't want to get into the chaos down at Project Cure have put these together. We've had women's groups, youth groups, scouting troops have put these together. And it has just all the basic stuff that a mom or a dad would need to take care of little minor emergencies at home. Yeah.
So does it come then with a list of exactly?
Yeah, it has a list of what to put in it. The other thing, my main project is cure kits. 2 of these make up a cure kit, and they have approximately $2,000 worth of stuff in it. I've got a list that goes into them. Some of them are customized, but we have some IV solution, IV kit, suture kit, a lot of different kinds of bandages, alcohol swabs, just a whole lot of different stuff. A few orthopedic things, little braces like this. We'll put some of these in. Oftentimes I just take them out of the box because the box just wastes a lot of space, and so we just bundle it. We try to jam pack as much as we can, up to 50 pounds in these things. And people traveling to foreign countries can take these in as luggage.
We call that an industrial strength medical kit.
Right.
That's more something you can gift to a clinic in the community that you're visiting.
One of the things, when John first got me involved in volunteering there, I said, where does all that stuff come from? And I've worked in hospitals before. And he said, well, it's leftover stuff from the hospital. And it is horrifying to see how much stuff is thrown away and wasted. Good stuff that's still it's not outdated, it's really good stuff. Sometimes we get some junk that we have to throw away, but we have a lot of really good stuff that, anyway, if you would like to volunteer, I have a list over there if you want to put your name on the list and put your email and a phone number. We can do a group volunteer thing, have a group come down, get oriented, and do a few hours sorting. And some of those people would probably be interested in continuing on. John and I've been volunteering there ever since we retired. And we generally, Petey's got it over there. We've also got some other literature over there. And Janet mentioned receptionist. We really could use someone to help out in the office. It's a desk job, answering the phone, doing a little bit of computer work, but if you didn't feel like you could do that, if you could just answer the phone and help answer questions, that would be wonderful, and help keep Janet from getting interrupted all the time.
Where is that?
Where is Project Cure? Yeah, it's at Kempwood and Bingle. Spring Branch area. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to John.
Good morning. It's a joy to stand up here and talk to all of you folks about Project Cure. I started working at Project Cure because, like Judy said, somebody else got me to do it. A man that's a member of St. Philip's Presbyterian Church, I was doing another volunteer project, and he said, what do you do the rest of the week? Well, unbeknownst to me, that the rest of the week would be working for Miss Thomason here, who can find stuff for you to do. Even today, when she leaves here, she's going to go below the container. So, there's that demand everywhere. Really, what I do, what my primary responsibility is to do the physical collections. So that means I get to play with a large box truck. Now, it's small enough that you're not required a commercial driver's license. So all of you that want to play with a big truck, to spend your life like I did, sitting in an office someplace and didn't get to play with a big truck, you can go play with a big truck. We have 2 forklifts. You can ride around, right, Ron? You can ride around on a big forklift. And we'll also teach you how to operate a pallet jack, which apparently operating a pallet jack is a skill that most people don't have. And do y'all even know what a pallet jack is? No, that's feel you do. It's a device that's you jack up, that jacks a pallet up and you move a pallet around. It's really interesting. We will get people that come into our organization that are extremely technical in a vertical area. They make extremely intelligent people that are well educated. And when you take them in and they go, well, maybe you should not be working there because we have stuff that you can do someplace else. And that's the value of Project Cure. There's so many places that people can fit in. What is primarily the responsibility of the people that collect? Janet and her team of people interface with the hospitals and organizations like Medline, who will transship for us, to supply equipment for us to pick up. Or individuals call in, as she was saying, that when she attempted to call and she found Project Cure would collect her mother's hospital bed, then one of our team will go out and do that collection. It requires a person who answers the phone. You have to be very much aware of the fact that when you're talking to an individual whose parent has passed away, son or something like that, you're going into a situation as a collecting person where you also have to be compassionate. And it works very well for people that are sitting here because each of us understand what being compassionate is about. Understand that when you walk in and you're talking to an individual, you're not just collecting this for further use. And you can truthfully tell those individuals that those consumables that they donate to you, that they're donating to Project Cure, that hospital bed that they're donating, within a month will be in Nigeria, will be in a hospital someplace where an individual who before was laying on the floor will be in a bed. And it makes a significant difference when you're the person standing there talking to that individual who is donating, and you can actually say, we will see to it that this bed goes to a good purpose. And I can't tell you how many times that have happened in the 6 years that I've been doing this. We in fact were collecting one this last week and went out, and that was exactly the case. And I talked to all the people who work with me and volunteer with me and that I train to go out and work on the trucks, that you're interfacing with the public. Now this is the same with the warehouse guy who works for Texas Children's also. When we go down and pick up at their warehouse, he takes the time to stop his job and go find the pallets that have been set aside, and he loads them on our truck. One, he took a look at me and went, oh God, this guy's so old, I'm about to let him operate a pallet jack. We laugh about that, but hey, you get what you can. But the other aspect about that is that that's really not their job, That's sort of outside the parameter of what they do. But that individual, who is, I'd say he's in his 30s, recognizes what we are doing. And that deal about that song that I always hear, go make a difference, we can make a difference, go make a difference in the world. It takes each one of us to do that one little thing. This young man at the warehouse who stopped his job and went and loaded this donated stuff on the truck, all I did was drive the truck. I have a very small piece in that. They aggregated it, put it on pallets, wrapped it up, and then when I showed up, they loaded it for me. The good part about my job is that I get it back to the warehouse and I roll it in. Now we label it, we have a supply chain management concept. We laugh about it being chaos, but it is a process where we know where the equipment came from, because every once in a while we'll get something that we're really not supposed to have. So we have to document that and move forward with that. We take it into the system, label it where it came from, and then it goes to the team. Judy's part of the team that sort that equipment and put it in containers, and then it winds up in boxes, winds up on the shelf with the SKU code on it. It's computer coded, and when we need it, Janet takes her list of what they found that they need in Nigeria. Here it is. We go out to the warehouse, pull it off of the shelf, or draw the equipment out of the warehouse, and that is how it's loaded into the machine. I'd like to tell a little story. I'm not doing time-wise here. 1 minute. I'd like to tell you guys about my wife being the best smuggler in the world. And I volunteer in Mexico. I do water projects. The first time Judy went to the clinic that we work with down there, she was horrified. It's like you saw here. It's third world. The doc didn't have sutures. She comes out and has a beat up suture pack, and she's panicking. She's going, oh, you gotta be kidding me. no blood pressure cuffs, no nothing. So next time we go down, she takes 2 of these, and we're going through the entrance into Mexico. Anybody been into Mexico? You know, so she's got these 2 big green bags full of stuff, and of course they're saying, what is this? No, you can't do that. When the guy finally looked at me, because she keeps insisting, but the guy finally looks at me, I look at him and go, "Esto mi esposo. This is my wife, I'm not saying anything. This is my wife, I'm not saying anything." Finally, he just went, "Okay, this one time you can do it," and sent her on her way. It's probably not the one time she's gonna do it, folks, but she keeps doing it. It's amazing when you smuggle stuff in like that. You know, it's not smuggling. Here. We can make a difference. And as Jane said, that's enough. She's cutting me off. At this point, we're going to do questions, right, David?
So we have about 10 minutes left, and I'd like to open it up now for some questions that you may have for our panelists. Panelists, if you take maybe 2-3 minutes to answer, so that way we can get as many questions answered as possible. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to pass this back over to them, and I'll let them handle the Q&A.
Thank you. Yes, I wondered, you said there's a lot of graft and political issues. How can you guarantee once the container gets there, how do you monitor that it really gets to the clinic and it doesn't get dispersed and it does what you're asking it to do?
It's all about relationships and how we get there. You know, it's funny, when you see this, you just develop kind of, on the first level, there's a 7th sense, right? You can look eye to eye and you know whether it's honest. I can't tell you how many people call every week and they go, "Hi, I'm this guy in the middle of, I don't know, blah, 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 Stan, and I have this great nonprofit clinic. I think you should send me stuff." And we go, "Yeah, we'll come check it out." And when you have to check it out, they're like, "Yeah, no, you don't have to come check it out." I'm like, "Yeah, we do." So it's the first step is screening them, checking that we've been in these countries for years and years, going through who are our relationships. We check with them. We work closely with the governments in many cases. How is it going to get there? And it's actually unloaded by the people who work with it. There are no outside parties involved. It's no, we drop it off. We will never ship into a warehouse. It has to go directly into the clinic. So I always say when it goes in the front door, over the nurse's dead body, is it going out the back door? So a lot of that is involved in that, and just careful screening and knowing what country you're going into. We will never send an assessor into a dangerous country, into a war-torn country, because again, it goes up by magnitudes. It's gonna disappear. Yeah, there was another one over there. Yeah.
It was somewhat on the same, your story about Judy smuggling this in, when you talked about that, you know, you can take these bags and they're carry-on. I was wondering how much have you vetted with the countries you're going to that they can go in?
Yes.
That was an anomaly that you ran into a problem at the border?
That was just John trying to pull a chain,
Okay.
actually.
My daughter's had seizures. And I was wondering.
There's paperwork that.
So they will accept it?
Right, it comes with paperwork that says this is a donation, please don't charge customs. And it is packed according to the government's rules. So for example, if you're traveling into a country that has a no expired goods policy, you wouldn't take anything expired. Now, it takes a little bit more of a seasoned traveler to get things through customs, because sometimes they'll give you a hard time even though they're not supposed to. So, but it comes with paperwork, appropriate paperwork, so it goes through. One of the reasons why we have a $200 charge for the bag is we used to send them to, just somebody would say, "I'm going to Louise, I want to carry a bag," and we had no fee. And they'd hit a little bit of a struggle and go, "Yeah, I'm going to leave these $2,000 worth of supplies in the middle of the airport." Yeah, no. So that's why there is a donation required for those. But they go through, I'd say 98% of the time. Once in a while there's a problem, but there shouldn't be. Yeah.
As far as the trip, so assuming that somebody volunteers to go to wherever one of these countries are, how long a duration is that trip?
Okay, we didn't talk a lot about clinics. That's one of the things that we do. For those of you who are medical professionals, they can travel on our clinic trips. We also take non-professionals on clinic trips to do things like help screen and do documentation and things like that. Typically those are about 9 days. It depends on the clinic trip. They're all posted online with more information. Those are you know, I always say volunteer, but those are also at the expense of the person who's going. When you're a nurse and a doctor and there's some other clinics, sometimes they have sponsors for them, but there would be your airfare and your trip fee to do that. Yeah.
One more question before all the firemen leave. As far as that website you gave us to have for volunteering, could you just go over that?
Yeah, ProjectCure.org is going to have everything, whether it's donating medical supplies, receiving medical supplies, volunteering, everything is there. You'll also find that little 4-minute video there. If you scroll down to the bottom left-hand corner, you can click on that and watch it again, or share it with somebody. You might have a good friend who's a physician who's retiring, or a nurse who's retired and looking for something to do. A good starting point is to share that website with them so that they can learn more about it. And my business cards are also on the back table. Feel free to grab that and send me a note. Carrier pigeon, however you want to get me to get involved. Just to kind of sit down and talk about how your talents might align with what we do on an ongoing basis would be helpful. Any more questions? Yeah.
I think, but what's the average turnover time for the time you receive a project to the time that it makes it to wherever it's going?
I'd say it's probably truthfully about 3 months. It depends on what the product is. Rosie just brought me an EKG machine. That'll be gone in a couple of weeks. But when you talk Band-Aids and syringes and gauze, we have so much of it. It takes about a good 3-month turnover for that stuff to move. We have a 38,000 square foot warehouse in Spring Branch, and it's loaded with stuff. And it's not like we have a package and we're just getting the stuff we need. So it really depends on what type of clinic is getting what in that particular time frame. Since the 18th or so of December, we've sent 3 cargo containers, and we're getting ready to send number 4. So there's a lot of equipment has been moving out. It just depends. Anything else? We talked about clinics, we talked about bags. Thank you so much. If you are, I've got to pop into my car because I noticed these do not have tags in them, but these have about 14 everyday medical supplies in them. Everything from acetaminophen to tweezers and nail clippers, things like that. If you would like to get a bag today, you can give a $5 donation, and then once you fill it with the stuff, I'm sure if they bring it back, the Murphys or the Drevies would be happy to drop it off for us. You write a little message to the recipient, and we also track the bag for you. So once you fill it, as long as you provided us an email address, we'll send you back an email and say, hey, remember that bag you stuffed in January? It's now March or April, and it went to Tanzania. So very, very cool. You can also follow us on Facebook. It's a good place to track Project Cure because you'll get the message. Like, you're going to see pictures posted shortly of us sending the items off to the Ukraine, and the donor in this case is going over there to meet the container, and he's going to send us the pictures when he goes in. One of my favorite recent stories was we had a bunch of psychiatric beds donated from one of the hospitals that renovated here in Houston, and at first we were tempted to not accept them because we don't really need something like that. But a psychiatric bed is basically a heavy-duty IKEA/dorm bed, right? And we work with some orphanages in Armenia, and I called them up when I knew that there were 100 beds available, and I said, hey, you guys need some new beds? And they said, absolutely. So I went in and I looked at these beds in the hospital, and a psychiatric ward, lockdown psychiatric ward, is not a fun place to be. Even in a good hospital, it's very sad and depressing. And we took all these beds, and then I got pictures back from the orphanages in Armenia, and there they were with colored walls, and the church ladies had made beautiful quilts, and there were people sitting on those beds. And what a happy transition to now give them a good bed to sleep on. So we can take all these things that are surplus to us, the things we throw away, the things we no longer need, and let the people who've used them live on through that and save some lives around the world. And I think all of us basically have the message that says this has been a tremendously rewarding experience for us. If you go online and read the story of our history and our founder, it is truly a passionate story, and a lot of people, 30,000 of them, doing a lot of work. And you can say I go to work every morning, and I'm grateful for the people who follow me through the door and precede me through the door that make this happen, because together we can change the world and do it now. So love to have you all join us. And again, thank you, David, for organizing. Thank you to the Murphys for bringing us here, and thank you all for putting us up with us on a Sunday morning. Thank you.
Thank Thank you very much. Okay, appreciate your being here. If you would take a minute to fill out the evaluation form on the back. You will also notice at the bottom was something that Janet gave me, which is item number 7 regarding volunteering. So you can see some of the items of things you could do for volunteering. Okay, thank you.